Good evening, friends. Welcome back to that 1870s homestead. My name's Rachel, and today I'm doing some pumpkin roasting, pureeing, getting things ready up in advance for the holidays coming up, and as well as long-term storage. Come with me and I'll show you guys exactly how I roast pumpkins and get them ready. So this was an absolutely glorious Cinderella pumpkin. Which I've grown my own Cinderella pumpkins, but mine did not have this much meat in it. And this one, when I cut it open, I was like, oh, that is just going to make the best pumpkin. It's one of the most flavorful pumpkins in my opinion, and just great for pie making and desserts and pumpkin soup, whatever your heart desires. So I'm just scraping this one out. This is quite a large pumpkin. I'd say it was probably close to 10 pounds before I, scooped all its guts out. And most pumpkin roasting recipes you'll find online are all around those little sugar pie pumpkins. So you kind of just have to play it by ear the first time that you're roasting a larger pumpkin at home, just depending on the density of the flesh and how much there is in there and the thickness of the skin. All kinds of things will tell you how long you have to roast it, but I'll tell you that in a minute. I'm going to get this first round all pureed up, get a big bowl going, and this won't be a long video. It'll just be the basics on how to roast a pumpkin and what I do with it. All right, this is some awesome looking pumpkin puree. Smells amazing, and I'm just gonna keep doing this batches after batches. Let's just taste it. Delicious.
Wow, it looks like baby food.
It does taste like baby food too. Just absolutely perfect. So,
awesome.
Yeah, I have 2 more pumpkins to do. Listen, guys, I did not grow these myself this year. Picked them up from the local farmer's market for decorations on the front porch. We had, that wedding here in the fall, and I just needed all the fall decorations. And I like to do it with my own homegrown pumpkins each year anyway. And we're about to get a pretty decent freeze over the next couple days. And a freeze on a pumpkin doesn't do it any good. It's gonna make it rot and go yucky. And so take care of your pumpkins on your front porch before that freeze gets them. And this is a quick way. It's pretty hands off. So I'll tell you what I did. Like I said, that is a big pumpkin. I'll talk to you guys while I'm getting the rest of it scooped in. A standard sugar pie pumpkin, it'll say and that's like 3 to 5 pounds, like a little small pumpkin. It'll say to roast that at 350 for 30 to 50 minutes, something like that. I had to go a full hour and a half on this one. And all I did was I scooped out its guts, like I said, cut it in half, laid some parchment paper down on this baking sheet. I didn't do any of the oils, salts, anything like that. I just want straight, plain pumpkin flavor. And yeah, just roasted it. And then we left the house this evening. So one of the things to do is just let it sit there when you take it out of the oven to cool. And what do you call that? The rind on the pumpkin will act like a natural steamer. And while it's cooling off, it'll really steam and soften everything inside. So hopefully you guys can see that. It's just so soft and mushy and easy to scoop out. And then if you've never ever grown and used your own homegrown pumpkin, for a replacement, not a replacement, a better than store-bought canned pumpkin puree, when you make your own homemade pumpkin puree, It's has more water content than a can from the store. So before you use it for a pumpkin pie or pumpkin bread or something like that, what I'd like to do, I think I've got maybe a clip here that Todd can show. I like to hang it from cheesecloth for like at least overnight and let a lot of that excess water drain out, and then you get the right texture. But that is so good. It's so pretty. And I have 2 more pumpkins to do. So we'll at least get one of those going tonight. I'll show you the literal simplicity of it all. And then I'll show you how I'm gonna store this. Okay, that is it from that one pumpkin. And I shouldn't say that is it. That is a lot from one pumpkin. Oh, but let me tell you, if I didn't already have a bunch on the pantry shelves and I was doing this and I had this many pumpkins, I would probably take this entire batch and dump it in my crock pot overnight to make some amazing pumpkin butter. Oh, I made a whole bunch of pumpkin butter and we still have a lot in the pantry. So I'm going to clean up my mess and I'll show you guys exactly. It is that simple, how to simply roast a pumpkin and get your pureed pumpkin. I'll let you cut into that one. So I'll be honest with you guys, not every single pumpkin is worth roasting. And I've learned that just through trial and error. That's a really tough one, so careful. Through trial and error over the last few years. So I have another supermoon pumpkin here that's cut into. White flesh. People say it's really good eating, but the last one I didn't have this thick of a flesh to it, so I'm gonna try roasting it again. It wasn't my favorite. It almost kind of bland for a pumpkin, I would say. I'm not sure if what this variety is called, if it's like a turban pumpkin or a cross between a turban pumpkin and a Cinderella. So if this has a thick flesh, that's what I was starting to say. I'm looking for something that has a lot of meat to it. Don't bother with anything that's just like a super thin meat layer. Not a lot.
It kind of smells rotten.
It doesn't smell rotten to me. It smells like cantaloupe.
Oh.
Pumpkins always smell like cantaloupe to me.
Like right over there, it looks kind of like mushy, but
yeah,
maybe not.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to bother with this one. I mean, can you hold up this one, Todd, and I'll show him this one? So, I mean, it has some decent meat right here, but around the edges, it's super thin, not much at all. It's almost all seed. Where this one, very little seed, a ton of meat. So that's what I'm gonna go with. And we'll blend those two together. Yeah. I don't think it's worth it.
I don't think so. The chickens will like it.
Yeah, we'll just give that one to the chickens. And I have tons of other pumpkins on the front porch, but I will guarantee you this is all the pumpkin I need for the next year.
That's a lot for one pumpkin.
It's a lot. But you need a lot of fresh pumpkin puree to make a can of pumpkin puree.
You get all the water out of it.
Right.
Yeah, you guys seen how big that is?
Alrighty, and then I'm just scooping out the guts, like I said, and I'm gonna not oil it, not salt it, nothing. And I'm gonna put it down on my parchment paper. The oven is still on, preheated. I think it is anyway. No, it's not. So I could I'll throw them in the oven, even with it not preheated, and just add like 10 minutes to the roasting time. Oh, okay. I do try to do a good job getting all the stringy fibers out. And you can totally save the seeds. Of course, I'm sure I'm gonna get tons of people saying that, but you didn't save the seeds. I have a whole quart jar of pumpkin seeds from the first round of pumpkins that we carved with the grandkids and my niece and nephew my niece that was here. We carved some pumpkins and we saved all the seeds from that and roasted them. So there it is, all scooped out. I'm just gonna put it down on this baking sheet. Flesh side down. And if you have goats, cows, pumpkin seeds are almost like a natural dewormer. Great for chickens. It's just an excellent vegetable to feed your animals in the fall. So if you see fellow neighbors, friends throwing out pumpkins after the season, go nab them up, store them in your shed, store them in your garage, somewhere that you can just give them a pumpkin every other week or something like that. It's just really good for them over the winter months. And our chickens have had so many already, and they absolutely love it. I just thought of something else. If you don't like how a certain, so say this is gonna be my second attempt roasting a supermoon pumpkin. If I still don't like it, hey, save it. Make some awesome dog treats. I've got 2 dogs at home. Make some homemade dog treats for the dogs out of pumpkin. It's great for them too. And you're not having to buy anything from the store. You can make it yourself. So there we go. 2 pumpkins going right into the oven. And I'll probably bake these starting at it's pretty big. Yeah. Probably starting at an hour, and I'll check them then. Okay, but I did tell you guys how I'm gonna store this. So let's get going on that. And that'll wrap up today's video. Okie doke, I just ran and grabbed some quart jars, and I'm gonna be freezing this. It is not recommended by the national canning people to freeze, or to can, I should say, pureed things, other than like applesauce. And it's something about the density. I will say I've done it, but I'm not gonna teach that to you guys. So I'm just going up to, probably that might even be a little too much. There you go. Probably to like 1.5 inches, maybe 3/4 of an inch below the neck, to give it plenty of room for expansion when it freezes. They say 1 inch is enough, but better be safe than sorry than have a broken jar when you need it. And I would assume it takes 2 quarts of cubed pumpkin for me to get what I need for a recipe. So I'm gonna assume 1 quart of pureed is probably good for, 1 can of store-bought pumpkin pie filling. But I tell you what, that's some beautiful stuff. Absolutely delicious. Okay, friends, I ended up with 6 beautiful quarts of pumpkin in 1 pint. Great reason why you save your old lids. Great use for freezing, storing dry goods in your pantry. So these are all going down in the freezer. I wanted to leave you with just a few inspirations. There's so much you could do with pumpkin. So this little pint, I could save it out for tomorrow morning for breakfast. Throw some in a batch of pancakes, make some pumpkin biscuits, make some pumpkin waffles, pumpkin muffins, you name it. Let's talk savories. Dump a whole quart of this in a delicious hearty pot of chili. Your family will never know you've added pumpkin in there. It's a great filler, great nutrients, a way to really thicken up a soup or a chili. I do that quite often. Of course, pumpkin pie, right? So this is why I'm doing it. Get this project out of the way before the madness of the holidays. And you'll have it ready for my favorite recipe for pumpkin pie, passed down generations after generations. My great-grandmother, Granny Wyatt's pumpkin pie. We have a link to that on our channel. Pumpkin donuts. I feel like the Bubba Gump shrimp guy. There's just so much you could do with pumpkin. So enjoy, get creative in your kitchen like I always say. And until the next video, I'll see you guys and have fun where you are, being creative with the food that you grow. I'll talk to you guys later.